You have nicer properties. You have hotels that people want to stay in. Prevents the leakages, economic leakages that go outside the community. Well, here to talk not so much about that, more about cross country, but we'll zing him on that one too, is Mark Zimmerman, who is the Director of Economic Development for Central Florida Tourism and Sports Marketing. Mark, welcome aboard.
Thank you. It's an honor and a privilege.
It is an honor and a privilege, and Mark has actually hosted this show before several times.
I was going to say, you want me to move over?
I'm good.
You're good there?
I'm good with my segment.
All right, okay.
You can handle the rest of the show.
So we were talking about economic development. Might as well continue a little bit on that, Mark. And you know, it's interesting to watch the amount of new properties coming into Polk County, and that just makes the destination that much more attractive to visitors. You know, they're not as inclined to go over the border to Osceola County or to Hillsborough County, but that they just don't show up at our doorstep. That just doesn't happen. You know, there's a lot of work that goes into providing data and economic information. You know, is this a good place to do business?
So yeah, certainly it is. We have quite a few new hotels in our pipeline over the next 3 or 4 years. You know, we're looking at probably about 11 new properties. If you want to include some of the newer properties that just opened, a new Best Western Plus in Winter Haven, across from Cypress Gardens, on Cypress Gardens Boulevard, across from Legoland. You know, and then actually new Home 2 Suites that opened up in Davenport. At the Champions Gate exit. If you think of the Champions Gate exit, if you go towards Champions Gate, you're not in our county. But if you go away from Champions Gate, the west side of the road is still Polk County. And so we have a new, brand new Home 2 Suites that just opened. I don't even think they've had their official opening yet. But yeah, we're really excited about some of the new properties that are coming in. Some really nice properties, new Staybridge in downtown Winter Haven. There hasn't really been a property in downtown Winter Haven before. So this is going to be some nice new additions coming into our county.
We'll jump from that to cross country. Now,
sure.
You know, your son Brady was a cross country runner, went to Florida Southern, all of that type of stuff. You've been involved in it heavily for many, many years, and one of the reasons that Polk County sort of emerged as a cross country capital of at least the peninsula side of things. Tallahassee obviously has it at the state level with the facility they have up there, but we're coming along.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, we have what is generally considered one of the best cross-country facilities in the state in Holloway Park. You know, Holloway Park is a private nonprofit foundation established by the Holloway family. And is specifically a cross-country park and a disc golf course. So that happens there as well. But you know, we're talking about the cross-country aspect of it, and you know, we've been very successful. We've worked really hard at it, but we've been very successful recruiting new events, working with our local organizers. Cross-country season, much like football, kicked off last week. With the first event being the Jim Ryan Invitational. It's an event put on by a local organizer, but named after Jim Ryan, who was the first high schooler to break 4 minutes in the mile, and has gone on to have a lot of other success professionally and in politics as well. You know, 1,200 runners attended that event. Really, the facility was packed. I know our staff that was out there helping to park cars were saying to me, "We need more land." You know. But everything went smooth and was great, and we have, matter of fact, we just had another event this morning. Florida Southern had an event out there this morning. Southeastern kicks off with their first event tomorrow. And so we have a wide range of events, high school events, college events, middle school. There's elementary races at some of the events. And it's just a great lineup we have coming up this season.
Man, that's...
If you haven't been out to one of these events, it's not only a ton of kids. It's a ton of parents.
Yeah.
There's an awful lot of support there, and they're on the weekends. You know, the parents have the time off. They flood into that park, fill every corner, and sort of between the Bedouin village that goes on with the tents out there, and the amount of people that fill in around it. Holloway is really a special place for these kinds of races.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, and it probably is really probably the truest cross country course we have in the state. Mark referenced Appalachia Regional Park in Tallahassee, which is a phenomenal facility, but I wouldn't call it a true cross-country course. It's just set up a little differently. It's set up for major events, and they can do some fantastic things there. Ours is a little more, a little more elevation changes. It gets narrow at points. It's a fantastic facility, and that's why some of our events have decided that that's going to be their home. And on the state level, from the high school level, Tallahassee is the home of the high school state championships, but we're home of the middle school state championships, which, if you look at the numbers, is just as big participant-wise, but really probably has more people coming in, because the amount of people coming in to watch the middle schoolers is unbelievable. And Jack, you mentioned you see them start, and then if you're standing at the top of the hill, you can see everything. You can see the runners start, and then you see the parents start running, also in the direction of the next spot that they can see their kids. And it's really impressive, the number of people that are out there.
I just don't think people realize how big the sport is, and Polk County Sports Marketing, now Visit Central Florida Sports, has really separated itself from the other organizations around the state, around the country, by targeting some of these maybe not so famous stick and ball sports, but cross country, water skiing, some of these things that bring in huge numbers of people. And I just don't think people realize how many. Think about that. You had 1,200 runners, and you have between 1.5 and 2 others come with each runner. That's over 3,000 people.
Yeah.
And
spending money in Polk County. That's what it's all about.
And the market is blessed, and the runners, because Holloway is a unique park. The number of kids, when I worked in the chute there at the end of the run, the number of kids that would come stumbling in, and they would go, "Where'd the hills come from?"
Yeah.
Yep. So tell us about. Elevation changes, wildlife. If you don't get a chance, if you're not a runner and you just want to hike, a good place to hike around, it's gorgeous.
Yeah, well, and Holloway Park is, while it's a private park, it's open every day to the public. 7 to 7 on the weekends, 7 to 3 during the weekdays. Just open. Anybody can go out there. If they want to just walk or run on the trails. Trails are very well marked. There's everything from a shorter 3K all the way up to 10K trails. That are marked, and so they're marked pretty well. So hopefully you don't get lost. It does happen on occasion, but it's a great place to go. Not maybe right now. It's a little warm,
a little hot.
When it cools down a little bit, it's a fantastic place to just go enjoy nature. Hopefully we don't have the nature during the races, but there is plenty to see out there and enjoy.
Well, you also mentioned a little earlier, and nobody even talks about this. There's a disc golf course out there. And if you don't know what disc golf is, Mark's going to tell you.
Yeah, sure. So, disc golf, obviously, it is called disc golf, but most people most understand it. It's a frisbee, right? And it's just like playing golf. You're teeing off from a pad, and you're throwing your frisbee into a basket as few times as possible. And it's tough, though. It's in the wood. This isn't like a golf course, a regular golf course where it's wide open. This is in the woods, around trees. The baskets sometimes are tucked away. It's a great sport. Holloway is probably one of the longest courses in the state, probably one of the toughest as well. It's very long to play. And we have some other great disc golf courses in the county too. One at Loyce Hart Park. The county just built a new one down in Homeland. That is a great park as well, but they're a little shorter and they're smaller courses.
Yeah, my son-in-law is killing me to play Holloway the next time they're here at Christmas time.
Be prepared for a walk. It's going to take a while.
When I was a kid, I remember when I was a kid.
We didn't have hands.
We didn't have disc golf. We didn't have pickleball. All of this type of stuff. But all these great opportunities, and these are. Cross country isn't cradle to grave, but disc golf certainly is.
Oh, yeah.
Pickleball is. And those are sports that anybody can participate in and have a good time with. You want to be competitive, be competitive. If you want to play it recreational, play recreational. So it's another one of the offerings here, but, we're fortunate. 24 seconds. Where did this time?
Where'd it go? That's because Mark's such a great guest.
Well, and I didn't even talk about half the stuff on here.
Yeah.
You know, I throw in there real quick because Stuart didn't mention it that we also host the SSAC state championships out at Holloway Park. You know, and we didn't even talk about our largest event, the FLRunners.com Invitational. That's 4,500 runners. So that's, you know, those are some significant events going on, and we have 14 events total this year out at Holloway Park for cross country.
If you don't get a chance to go out and see FL Runners and just the wall of people running towards you at one point out there, it's really something else.
That's another sport, growing it from the ground up right here in Polk County. So this guy here deserves a lot of credit for all of that, and so we're appreciative of that. Mark, thanks a million for joining us.
Always a pleasure.
Okay. If you enjoyed this interview and want to watch more Sports Central, click the video below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.